So I've done all these pictures of the farm. You've seen my year on the farm, or most of it. I got to about November. Okay, this is the story of how it went on from there. I got to about November and I thought, what am I going to do with these photographs? Because it's like you put things on the computer and no one ever sees them, do they? Mm. So I thought, well, Mum and Dad's Christmas present, I'd make this book. And here it is. I did it on the internet. Anyone can do these. They're true print, or Tesco's to do them. This was done, it was about 50 quid, because I went for the hardcover and the deluxe and everything. So I had this book made, it cost me 50 quid, and it was all, I gave it to Mum and Dad for Christmas present. You see some of the pictures in there that you saw earlier. I gave them that, and it kind of went down quite well, and people said to me, oh, that's really nice, you should get that published. Well, the thing is, it's easy to say that, isn't it? But I don't know anything about publishing or anything. But what happened, I was looking in the Western Daily Press one day, and I was reading about this lady who just had a book published by Amberley Publishing, a local book. And I looked it up, and I thought, oh, crikey, they're actually only based in Stroud. And they normally do books, you might have seen them, they do, there's one, Kidderminster Through Time, but they normally do sort of a lot of local history books and things. They've probably done Chipping Sodbury Through Time, where they do pictures, like from 1890, and then they take the same picture and compare it, which I always find quite interesting. They do a few weird ones. There's an illustrated guide to Armageddon. I don't know, if there's Armageddon, who's going to hang around illustrating it? But I contacted them and said, look, I've done this book, would you be interested? Because on their website they've got a thing that say, if you've got an idea for a book, please contact us. So I did just contact them. And they said, come and see us. So I went for a chat, and they said, well, we'd like to publish it. And I was like, oh, blimey. Because I don't know, they said to me, could you write your story of the year with the book? Because the thing is, with Mum and Dad's copy, I didn't write hardly anything, because they don't need to be told what a cow is, or, what tractors and because they already know. So I said, yeah, okay, I'll write something. Anyway, I did that. And then they decided, I said, where's it going to be printed then? And I thought it said printed in China, because most books you pick up these days, they're made printed abroad, cheap somewhere, aren't they? And they said, actually, it's printed down in Portbury Docks, Hampton's Printing. So I went down to Portbury Docks and saw it being printed, which is quite a nice thing to do, actually. The printing press over my shoulder there was 3 million quid that it was printed on. Printed in these big sheets, and then it's cut down and bound and stuff. You can see some of the pictures there that you saw earlier, like there's my brother there with the cow and stuff. And it was interesting, when I was walking round, I spoke to the bloke and I said, how long have you worked here? And he said, oh, I've been here 19 years. And I said, well, how many people have been down to see the book being printed since you've worked here? And he goes, you're the first. So obviously I was the nosiest. But I always like to see how things, that's my thing, I think. I always like to see how things work behind the scenes. I always find that interesting. And it was interesting to go and see this. They print a lot of magazines and things like that down there normally. So this was going to be the original cover. That was the demo. And they decided that wasn't quite what they wanted to do. So they changed it to that one, which is a lot more kind of interesting, I think, and grabs you a bit. So when the book came out, I then had some interest. That was the Points West. They came out and filmed me for Points West one day, which was nice. And then I started getting a bit of publicity, and the magazine, this is Amateur Photography magazine, they said they came out to see me. Man for All Seasons. My wife's got a completely different name for me than that. But it's good to have a title, really, isn't it? But then it was quite interesting from that. It led to quite a few other things. First of all, I got contacted by Smallholder magazine, and they said to me, would you be interested in writing a series of articles about how to rear cattle? And this is really, really funny, because I've never been interested in photography, okay? I just happened to take some pictures because I thought it was a record. So I never thought I'd get a book of photographs out. I've never been interested in writing, but someone offered me a kind of option to write some stuff, so I thought I'll give it a go. So here we are with my auntie's Dexter cow there. She's got a small holding at Alveston, so I used that as a cover, and there she is as a cover girl. And there we go, Choosing Your Cattle. That was a series of articles I wrote there. So from that, I then got a phone call from the National Farmers Union. They have a magazine called The British Farmer and Grower, which is sort of comes out to anyone who's in the National Farmers Union subscription magazine. Goes out to 60,000 people. They rang me up and they said, we quite like your writing style, because they've seen the book. I said, I didn't know I had a writing style. Would you be interested in writing a column for us? And I first of all said, oh, actually, I don't think I could do that, because it's not really, I said I'm not used to writing. I actually said to them, could I do something like a blog or something? Because I always figure, if it's online, it kind of like, you won't, you know, no one sees it. Whereas if it's actually in your magazine, it seems a bit more proper, really. And they go, no, we'd like you to write a column for us. So I agreed to do it. And then I've been doing, on and off, I've been doing Cornock's Corner, which is actually really enjoyed doing. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be carrying it on now, because I'm on my third editor. And they keep changing the style of the magazine and stuff. But I've survived for 4 years, I think. I don't do it all the time, but every now and then I do it. And that one was about Cider with Richie. That was about the Wurzels playing in the local pub. It's a little bit light-hearted. I don't really want to go too serious, so I just do every now and then I do a little bit of banter and stuff. So I did that, and then I ended up, I don't know, I get quite lucky with a lot of things actually. This chap on the left, this guy called Ben Prater, and at the time he was doing a drive time show on BBC Radio Bristol, and he did an interview me about my book, and at the end of the interview I just said to him, oh, you ought to come down and get your hands dirty on the farm. Well, I didn't think I'd hear from him again. Anyway, he came down on an October morning and didn't leave for 2 years. For 2 years, we did a series called Get Off My Land, which played out on Radio Bristol. We had a real laugh with it, actually. I loved it. We made our own sausages, the Bristol Blue sausage there, which was, what we did, we had a competition from the listeners to think of a sausage to make. And the winner was Uncle Sluggy from Bedminster came up with the Bristol Blue, which is pork and blueberries. Because obviously blue is the colour of Bristol, isn't it? Yeah. So we then went to our local butcher at Alveston and we made Bristol Blue sausages. And believe it or not, he won a South West Sausage Award with them. I didn't get any money out of this. I should have been on royalties, really. But we also did things like we made our own cheese. Absolutely disgusting, I can tell you. We went beekeeping. I taught to drive a tractor. We did lots of interesting, fun things, and I really enjoyed it. Sadly, that came to an end when he then left to go to Radio Wiltshire. He's now doing the breakfast show on BBC Radio Wiltshire. If you tune in, I think between 6:30 and 9, he's on there. But he's a good mate of mine still. We still keep in touch, and he's got one of the trees in the orchard. Off the back of it, though, I've continued doing radio, and I sort of pop up every now. I was on about 4 times on Radio Gloucestershire in December, and I was on Radio 4 on January the 2nd as part of their review of the year on the Farming Today programme. And I've got some more stuff lined up for Radio Gloucestershire coming up. I quite like radio because you don't have to look tidy or anything. You know, you can be in your boiler suit and wellies and they think you look like Omar Sharif. You know? But it's also, I find it's not intimidating. I've done a little bit of television, only a small amount, and if you've got a bloke with a camera there, you feel really self-conscious. But quite often when you're on the radio, even in the studio, it's just chatting. And everyone can do chat, can't they? We're not doing a script, so you're not worried about what you say. As long as you don't swear, I think you'll be all right, really. So if any of you get a chance to do any radio or anything, don't worry about it, because I think it's quite easy. But moving on from that, a lot of these things like the radio and the writing stuff are out of my control. I don't get kind of like, you know, I don't know when I'm going to get asked. But what I've moved on to, there's a few little things of myself. So this is my plug now. I've nearly finished, okay? This my plug is that I do my own radio greetings cards. I've got them here, £1.50 if you want them. If anyone wants a book, I've got a couple here, £14. I also do farm walks. Some of you have been on those in the summertime. If anyone wants to do a farm walk, just let me know. But the main thing I've concentrated on now is I do a YouTube channel called The Funky Farmer, okay? Now, if any of you know about YouTube, it's basically videos that people upload and broadcast on there. And surprisingly, I'm actually quite big in YouTube. It sounds really funny, doesn't it? Because I didn't know I would be. I've been uploading videos. What happened is I photographed the farm, and then I thought I'd do a video version of the book. And that was really, I didn't have a plan. I thought I'd do a DVD or something, and in the end you realise you can't condense it all onto DVD. It'd be about 50 DVDs, it'd be ridiculous. So I started uploading them to YouTube, okay? And now, believe it or not, I've got 700 videos on YouTube. But I get 13,000 views a day on YouTube. I've got 12,500 subscribers to the channel, and it's building all the time. It's something technology is amazing, because it wasn't available a few years ago, but now it's something I can do. What I do is I put 1 or 2 videos a week on there, and it's usually me working on the farm. And I now realise you've got to talk to your audience, so I do a little every now and then speak to it. I did a little dance video the other week, actually. It's really stupid. I might show you in a minute. But it's enjoyable for me, because the thing is, you'd be surprised. You probably see more people in your week than I see in a month, because I'm on my own on the farm most of the time, or my brother and my dad. And this gives me a kind of link with the outside world, and I really enjoy that, because it's quite solitary farming, and sometimes you need an outlet to just give you a bit of kind of oomph, if you know what I mean. And that's why I do it, really. It makes my life a bit of fun, because I get feedback. They're watched by people all around the world, and I get comments and things like that, and respond to them. Some are good, some are positive, some are negative, but you take that with it, really. Anyway, I'm going to show you, I'm going to finish now with a couple of videos, or maybe just one, I don't know. Do you want the dancing one or not? Yeah? This is really stupid. I've got two videos then. Right, this is the Funky Farmer dance, which I did at Christmas. I don't know whether you can see it. This is the Funky Farmer for the Funky Farmer channel. And I just did this, it's really stupid, because life's too short, isn't it? You can't hear the music, this is unfortunate. Can you hear that? That's just a bit of a kind of like stupid thing. That's the only stupid stuff I do on there, honestly. But there is an extended version of that, but you don't want that one. But what I've learned is that you have an audience that you kind of like want to sort of appeal with and talk to. So I did a Christmas message, if you like, and then stuck that on the end. So that was just a bit of a laugh, really. But what I'm going to leave you with now is something that you nearly made it to Points West. Okay. Let's stop that cow just jumping on the back there. Okay, so I'm going to finish with this video. Okay, this is the #1 video on my YouTube channel. It's been watched by 700,000 people now, so it's quite popular. But there's a funny story in the fact that you might remember about 3 years ago, I think, we had a really harsh spring, and it was really cold. It's completely opposite from now, where the grass didn't grow, and it was just so cold in March that the cattle had to be kept in longer, and we actually ran out of silage and we were buying grass in. A lot of farmers were having problems with that. Ali Vowles from BBC Points West came down to film us about this and to film the cows going out. And this is the video that nearly made it to Points West. And I say nearly because it was a Monday she came down. Okay, so she came down at 9:30. And we did a piece to camera about the harsh spring and the fact that we had to buy grass in. And then she filmed the cows going out. And it was a lovely video. And then she drove off. And I said, well, when's it going to be on the telly? And she goes, well, it'll be on about 1:30, Points West time. And then it'll be on again at about 6:30. I think that's the other time it's on. Fortunately, between the time she left our farm and when she got to Bristol, Margaret Thatcher died. So obviously, cows going out, Margaret Thatcher died. It's sort of like, which one was more important? So it got binned that day, and she emailed me that night, and she said, "Don't worry, although it's not on now, it'll be on tomorrow because it's still a nice piece." Anyway, on that evening, there was a riot in Bristol because Margaret Thatcher died, and so obviously that was a bit more important. Someone setting fire to a few cars than our cows. So what happened in the end is the video got binned, and all they did was they showed a very small segment along with the weather, saying about how cold it was, and they introduced that, which I find quite ironic because Margaret Thatcher was always known as the milk snatcher, wasn't she? And even in death, she snatched the milk from the cow. But this is the video I made, which was like very similar, and we'll see this now.
Thursday the 3rd of April.
Let me just turn that down. So the cows always at sort of March time will get a sense that the spring is here, but we can't let them out really until there's enough grass in the field. So here we are about the 3rd of April, and I'm just about to open the gate, and they're all queuing up. You can see they're kind of ready to go almost, aren't they? Like the start of a race, really, all lined up, ready to start a race. So I'm opening the gate here. Now the thing is, I'm actually running backwards with a camera at this point. So if I tripped over, there wouldn't actually be a lot left of me, really, would there? But here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's quite incredible, isn't it? I think the thing is, everyone thinks of spring lambs, don't they? But you kind of don't realise spring cows. And that's the orchard. You can see the trees that I've planted there. I must admit, I'm jumping for joy when they go out as well, because the thing is, the cows are really heavy-duty beasts. They're not designed for jumping, are they? But you see some of these skipping around, and they really do jump in the air. I think you look at the grass, actually, you can just see there's a bit of frost still on the grass. I think it's still a bit white in places. I'll let that, and you'll see if they come up, they're almost like a shoal of fish. They're all going back that way. Look, see, they're all coming back up, and then in a minute they'll go up the other end, and then they'll turn around and come back. But it's the time of year I always try and hope that I'm there that day. I don't really want the day off on that day because it's always lovely to see them go out, But they're only like that really for sort of half an hour or so, and then they settle down. The next day they go out, they won't behave like that. It's just literally there. But I'll let that run out. It's nearly finished, and I've finished as well.
Have we any questions? Well, the cows may not have been very impressed with you, but I'm sure we are all delighted. You have given us a wonderful insight to your farm, and I can't tell you how pleased I am that I am on my feet tonight. I came to Titherington when I was 11.
Did you?
For a holiday.
Wow.
And that's many years ago. But the village really hasn't changed very much, has it?
No, not really.
But we've had a fantastic evening. He's a wonderful speaker and a wonderful photographer. Yeah. And thank you for managing to fit us in your busy life.
Thanks a lot.
Do come and look at the cards. They're really beautiful as the photographer.
There's a tractor one here for any farmers.